Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gadadhar Shivasani Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Today is the appearance day of Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur. Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur was born at an important juncture in Gaudiya Vaishnava history, appearing soon after the Yuga avatar Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to the spiritual world. Along with two of his closest associates, Srinivasacharya and Shamananda Prabhu, Narottama Dasa Thakur rallied an entire generation of devotees who were experiencing intense separation from Lord Chaitanya. The three of them also initiated a movement of systematic preaching of Mahaprabhu's doctrine. Narottama Dasa Thakur was not only a fearless preacher, but also a deep Rasik devotee, as evinced in his many songs. As such, he has always been highly esteemed by generations of devotees who have followed in his footsteps by spreading the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. This is true even today. Our spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, often quoted the great Saint Narottama Dasa Thakur in his books and lectures. He was also fond of singing the bhajans composed by Narottama Dasa Thakur. In his purport to the Srimad Bhagavatam 1, chapter 10, verse 20, Srila Prabhupada writes, "There are songs of Thakur Narottama Das, one of the acharyas in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, composed in simple Bengali language, but Thakur Vishwanath Chakravarti, another very learned acharya in the same Sampradaya, has approved the songs of Thakur Narottama Das to be as good as Vedic mantras." Following in the footsteps, Srila Prabhupada's footsteps, members of the Hare Krishna movement strive to emulate Narottama Dasa Thakur's example as a stalwart preacher, and they see him as a hero in every sense of the word. Srila Prabhupada, in connection with Narottama Dasa Thakur and his purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 429.68, Narottama Dasa Thakur advises everyone to stick to the principle of carrying out the orders of the spiritual master. One should not desire anything else. If the regulative principles ordered by the spiritual master are followed rigidly, the mind will gradually be trained to desire nothing but the service of Krishna. Such training is the perfection of life. That was written by Indradyumna Swami. Chattering monkeys scampered through the trees, gawking curiously at the group of bright-faced devotees jubilantly singing the Lord's holy names. The kirtan party slowly found its way through the lush green countryside, their sweet melodious chanting echoing through the thick canopy of palm and coconut trees. Losing themselves in the joy of Hare Krishna Mahamantra Kirtan, the devotees chanted with full absorption, their voices brimming with devotion. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced in the center of the devotees, his radiant golden body swaying gracefully to the beat of the pulsating drums. As they walked, the mridanga players quickened the beat. The brass cartels chimed in time, flashing in the morning sunlight. Powerful waves of ecstasy surged through the kirtan party as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu raised his long, graceful arms and leapt into the air. The devotees surrounded him, dancing with wild abandon, their bare feet pounding the soft ground, raising clouds of dust. Suddenly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stopped dancing. Standing motionless, he stared intently into the distance and fervently called, Narottam, Narottam. His body trembled and tears poured from his eyes with uncontrollable force. Overwhelmed with ecstatic love, he grabbed onto Nityananda Prabhu for support, but then collapsed to the ground and rolled in the dust, crying again and again, Narottam, Narottam. Bewildered by the Lord's sudden outburst, the devotees stopped singing. Glancing at each other with uncertainty, they gathered around the Lord and softly sang the holy names, waiting for his ecstatic trance to abate. Kneeling, Sri Nityananda Prabhu whispered sweet, pacifying words in the Lord's ear. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, simply threw his arms around Nityananda Prabhu's neck and continued to cry. Worried, Sri Nityananda Prabhu turned to Verkeshvar and Haridas. I've never seen him shed such profuse tears. Hoping to revive the Lord, Verkeshvar led the devotees in loudly chanting the name of Lord Jagannath. Hearing this, the Lord regained his composure. Sitting up, he wiped the tears from his eyes and motioned to Nityananda Prabhu to come closer. Nitai, he whispered, you know that Sankirtan is everything to me. It is my very life. I want everyone in this world to taste the nectar of the holy name. But soon you and I will leave this world. Who will spread this chanting after we are gone? Who will keep the flame of love I have brought into the world burning? Before I leave, I must empower someone to carry on this wonderful Sankirtan movement. I have such a wealth of love of God, and I must leave it with someone. But who is qualified to inherit such riches? My Lord, said Nityananda softly, you know everything. Only you can answer that question. Is there anyone capable of carrying on your mission? Who is worthy of inheriting your love? Yes, Nitai, there is someone. His name is Narottam. Narottam, Nityananda Prabhu asked. Who is Narottam? Just a few minutes ago, you were calling his name and crying so hard I feared for your life. but I don't know of anyone named Narottama among your associates. Narottama has not yet appeared in this world, the Lord replied, but soon he will take birth nearby on the other side of the Padmavati River in the town of Kaituri. Narottama will be such a wonderful devotee that every word coming from his mouth will be filled with love of God, and anyone who sings his praises will certainly attain love of God. If I leave my love with him, it is certain that the nectarian ocean of Sankirtan will continue to flood the universe. Puzzled, Nityananda Prabhu inquired, but if Narottama has not been born, how will you give him your love? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled. Tomorrow I will enter the Padmavati River and deposit my love for Narottama to receive in the future. At the appropriate time, you must guide Narottama to the riverbank to collect the divine treasure that awaits him. The Lord then stood and resumed his chanting. That evening the devotees spoke among themselves in hushed voices, "Who is this Narottama the Lord called for?" No one except Nityananda Prabhu could answer, but he remained silent. The following morning, the kirtan party moved slowly along the sandy footpath, chanting and dancing as they sang the holy names. As they reached a clearing in the trees, the deep blue of the Padmavati River came into view. At the riverbank, Nityananda Prabhu turned to the devotees and stopped the kirtan. "Watch carefully," he said. "Something extraordinary is about to take place. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to place his divine love into the Padmavati River. Sometime in the future, this love will be given to a devotee named Narottama." The devotees watched curiously as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stepped with his lotus feet into the water and slowly waded toward the river's center. To their amazement, the placid river swelled with joy. Transformed by the Lord's touch, the water appeared to dance in glee, swirling and gurgling as it rose higher and higher. Within moments, the river overflowed with ecstasy, spilling over its banks and gushing onto the land. All at once, an extraordinary, beautiful woman rose from the waves. She stood before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with folded palms. Her silken garments shimmered in the breeze, and her jeweled crown sparkled in the morning sunlight. She asked humbly, "My Lord, how can I serve you?" "O goddess of this river, Padmavati Devi," Mahaprabhu said, "I want to leave my transcendental property in your care. Please take my love and keep it with you until a devotee named Narottama bathes here. That time, deliver this love to him." "Yes, my Lord," she replied submissively, "but how will I recognize Narottama? When a young, dark-complexioned boy who is filled with love for God enters your waters, causing them to surge and flood the land as they did today, you will know that is Narottama." "But, my Lord," she asked, "if this boy has so much devotion that his touch will cause me to overflow with ecstasy even before he has received your divine treasure, what will his condition be after receiving your love?" "Don't worry," the Lord interrupted. "Narottama will sustain my love. When he comes, simply give my love to him." Quivering with joy, Padmavati Devi received Mahaprabhu's love, offered her obeisances, and disappeared into the receding waters. The devotees who observed this exchange stood transfixed, mouths agape and eyes wide with astonishment. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu turned to them and said calmly, "Begin kirtan." news of this miraculous incident quickly spread throughout the land. Devotees everywhere waited eagerly for Narottama's appearance, each of them hoping for the opportunity to meet such a special devotee. Are we sure that it's all closed down there? It's quite...
Close it all up. Fans running.
Open the door. Open the kitchen door. At 6 o'clock in the morning, on the full moon day of Magh, Narayani, mother of Narottama Dasa Thakur, gave birth to a healthy male child. When the child appeared, an unearthly effulgence illuminated the delivery room, and profound happiness swelled in the hearts of everyone present. The mother gazed lovingly at the charming face of her son. "Just see how beautiful he is," she exclaimed to the midwives. "His features are exquisitely fine, and his eyes are like lotus petals." Embracing her child tightly, she wept with joy. Krishnananda, the father, beamed with delight and hurried to see his son. The musicians waiting in the palace courtyard, his mother and father, his father was a king, so he was born into royal opulence. Waiting in the courtyard for the birth announcement played celebratory music, and the village Brahmins loudly chanted auspicious Vedic hymns. Amid all the excitement, Narayani, Narottama's mother, suddenly saw the most beautifully resplendent figures enter her room. One of them was glowing like molten gold, and another had a creamy white complexion and wore brilliant blue garments. Amazed, Narayani sat upright, staring with wide eyes at the extraordinary personalities as they danced ecstatically in her home. Bewildered, she looked around, but no one else in the room seemed to notice the remarkable scene. When she turned again to look at the dancers, they had vanished. She sank back onto her pillow, overcome with confusion, excitement, and fatigue. She thought, "I must be imagining things." Unable to comprehend that the Supreme Lord himself, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his associates had blessed her home with their presence, she simply turned back to look at her son's face. In moments, she had forgotten everything else. Feeling herself the most fortunate person in the universe, her heart overflowed with happiness and contentment. Soon after, Krishnananda called a few local pundits to calculate the child's astrological chart and to recommend a suitable name. After carefully studying the chart, the astrologers agreed it was extraordinarily auspicious. "This is definitely not the chart of an ordinary person," one of them announced. "We can also understand it simply by looking at the auspicious signs on the child's body." Yes, another astrologer agreed. "This child will have all good qualities and will be extremely religious. He will bring great fortune to everyone." Glowing with both pride and happiness, Krishnananda asked, "What shall we name him?" The Pandits discussed at length and eventually concluded, "We all agree the boy's name should contain one or more of the syllables Na, Ra, and Ta. We think Narottam would be a most suitable name because Nara means man and Uta means topmost. It is clear from this boy's chart that he will indeed be the greatest of men." "Splendid," Krishnananda exclaimed. "How amazing it is," he said softly to his wife, "that these astrologers have chosen the same name the oracle predicted before the child's conception. Turning to the astrologers, the king asked, "Now tell me what else you see in his chart." Each astrologer then gave an enthusiastic interpretation of the chart, describing in detail various aspects of the boy's character and destiny. So I think we have 2 copies of this book. Nice day for devotees to look. There's no index, and it's just a table of contents. I'd be interested to see when he actually went to the Padmavati River and got the love of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Has anyone read this book enough to know where in the book it could be found? Is that a yes, or that's a hopeful speculation?
Maybe 1 second.
So we were hearing how Srila Prabhupada has recommended the songs of Narottama Dasa Thakur for devotees to chant, and himself giving us the statement of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who was the 4th disciplic generational disciple in the line of Narottama Dasa Thakur, said that his prayers are as good as Vedic evidence. We're chanting daily Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma, and that is the first song of 9 in the Prema Bhakti-chandrika, the Moonlight of Loving Devotion book of Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur. We're chanting 4 verses. Those are the first 4 verses, but they're actually 9 verses. So to give us a little taste, after Shri Guru Charana Padma, Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamanjanara Bandhu, give me the shade of your lotus feet, may your glories be proclaimed in the 3 worlds. Verse 5 says, by making the dust of the Vaishnav's feet the ornament of my body, ecstatic love comes. Washing the Vaishnava's lotus feet is my method of worship. By always associating with the Vaishnavas, I shall overcome the darkness of ignorance. O Srila Sanatana Goswami and Srila Rupa Goswami were 2 deep wells of the nectar of pure love, 2 personifications of the splendid nectar of the divine couple, and 2 desire trees by whose mercy the entire world is free from suffering. All glories to you. In your books, you 2 great souls clearly describe the Prema Bhakti. You are reservoirs of the sweet nectar of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Hearing about you brings bliss to the heart. You are fabulously wealthy, possessing ecstatic love for Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, a love more precious than gold purified in 10,000 flames. O Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, all glories to you. I beg you, please give me in charity some of those jewel necklaces. I shall eternally engage in the 9-fold process of devotional service, which is the essential message of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and I shall not worship the demigods. O brother, I say to you, devotional service is the most exalted kind of worship. Making the words of the Guru, Sadhus, and Shastras one with my heart, I constantly float and swim in the ocean of pure love. I am different from the karmis and jnanis who have no devotion for Krishna. Narottama Dasa thus speaks the truth.
Page 29.
Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, this is Song 2, has said, Uttam Bhakti, this is a very famous verse we're all familiar with. Anyabhilasita sunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishna no shilanam bhaktir uttama. Unalloyed devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. This devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive and devoid of fruit of karma, impersonal jnana, and all other selfish desires. Rejecting all other desires and abandoning philosophical speculation and fruitive work, in the company of the devotees, I will worship and serve Lord Krishna with my body and mind. I will not worship the demigods and demigoddesses. Devotional service is the reason for my life. Devoutly follow the path of the great devotees in the past, properly using your body and mind. Don't neglect either the regular devotional practices or the remembrance of the Lord's pastimes. Always reject the company of the impious, give up attraction to non-devotional songs, leave the karmis and jnanis far away, only associate with the devotees, take pleasure in hearing the nectar descriptions of pure love for Krishna, become flooded by the nectar of the narrations of the Lord's pastimes in Braja, putting the yogis, swamis, karmis, jnanis, demigod worshippers and meditators far away, and rejecting the torments that are fruit of work, ordinary religion, and other yogas worship Lord Giridhari. This is one that Prabhupada would quote often. The struggle to travel to various holy pilgrimage places is simply the mind's mistake. Because to make spiritual advancement, all one actually needs is the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. Abandoning pride and envy, and with firm faith in your heart, always worship Lord Govinda without deviation. See the devotees of Lord Krishna, associate with the devotees of Lord Krishna, faithfully engage in the ninefold process of devotional service, which includes hearing about the Lord, chanting his glories, worshiping him, offering obeisances to him, and remembering him. Following these activities enlightens the devotees with spiritual knowledge. I shall use these senses to serve Lord Govinda, and I shall decline to worship the various demigods and demigoddesses. I shall only speak about pure devotional service. The numberless different philosophies and conceptions of life are all products of the conditioned soul's pride. Trying to understand them brings no real benefit, but only a pain within the mind. The insubordinate senses are like enemies that live within the body. Tell the ear to hear, and it may rebel, refusing to hear. Tell the mind to understand a particular point or become firm in a certain way, and it may very well disobey. I shall fight with lust, anger, bewilderment, greed, madness, envy, and pride. Defeating them, I will become blissful at heart, and I will easily become able to worship Lord Govinda. And also this verse, Kama, Krishna, Karmarpane, Krodha, Bhakta, Dvisha, Jane, Loba, Sadhu, Sange, Arikata, Moha, Ista, Labha, Bhine, Mada, Krishna, Guna, Gane, Ni, Jukta, Kariba, Jata, Tata. Lust, I will engage in offering the fruits of my work to Lord Krishna. Anger I will direct towards the enemies of the devotees. Greed I will engage by being greedy to hear the topics of Lord Hari and the association of the saintly devotees. Bewilderment will be manifested because I cannot immediately attain my worshipful Lord. Madness will be there when I madly glorify the transcendental attributes of Lord Krishna. In this way, I will engage each of these in the service of Lord Krishna. If lust is not controlled, then it becomes the breeding ground for a host of vices and checks one's advancement on the path of devotional service. However, if one stays in the association of the saintly devotees, then that association will carry him beyond the influence of lust, anger, and their friends. I shall not become angry. I shall renounce anger. I shall become free from my 6 enemies, such as greed and bewilderment. I shall control my mind and always remember Lord Krishna Chandra. When lust and his friends hear the word Govinda, they immediately flee as a herd of elephants flees when it hears a lion's roar. If one engages in Ekanta Bhajan, single-pointed devotional service to Lord Krishna, then the worshipper attains transcendental bliss and all kinds of calamities flee from him. Don't sin, take no interest in profit, adoration, and distinction. Indeed, meditate on the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. In this way, all sufferings will go far away, and transcendental bliss and pure love for Lord Krishna will spontaneously come. Give up the association of the impious non-devotees. Give up the tendency to find fault in others. Don't follow any spiritual path other than devotional service. Don't worship the demigods. If one takes to the worship of the demigods, he becomes deviated from the path of devotional service. O brother, please become attached to your worshipful Lord alone. Serve him without deviation and sing the glories of his pastimes. I will now quote the words of Hanuman, who demonstrates this exclusive devotion to one's worshipful deity. Hanuman said, Shri Nate Janaki Nate Abeda Paramatmam Tatapi Mama Sarvasvam Rama Kamala Lochana. Although he is non-different from Lord Narayan, lotus-eyed Lord Ram alone is the be-all and end-all of my life. Deva Loka Pirta Loka Payatara Mahasukha Sadhu Sadhu Bale Anusyana. If one attains the planets of the demigods or Pitas and enjoys celestial happiness there, then I congratulate him, saying, well done, bravo. However, I myself would never strive to attain such a thing. For myself, I am content simply to worship Sri Sri Radha and Krishna and swim and float in the bliss of pure love for them. That pure love is the most valuable object in the 3 worlds. Although I have taken great trouble to try to enjoy the miserable sense gratification available in this material world, I shall now give it up. I shall now reside in Braja, serve Lord Govinda, hear and chant the topics of Lord Krishna, chant the holy names of Lord Krishna, and at every moment relish the transcendental mellows of devotional service and the association of the residents of Braja. I shall always aspire to serve the Lord, and great faith in the Lord will become manifested in my mind. In this way, I shall remain always fearless in all situations. Narottama Dasa says, somehow or other, I have accepted the role of a non-devotee. O my master, O great soul, please deliver me. Song 3. O Lord, you are an ocean of mercy. You are the friend of the fallen souls. Please notice me. I have become like a non-devotee swallowed by the timingeel fish of lust. O Lord, please protect me. In every birth I repeatedly offended you. In every birth I failed to worship you sincerely. No one is as fallen as I. Nevertheless, you are the only goal of my life. O Lord of my life, please do not abandon me. O Lord, you are known as Patita Pavana, the deliverer of the fallen, and you are also known as Shama Sundar. Please do not ignore my appeal. Even if I am an offender, I think that you are the real goal of life. That is the truth. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, please do not neglect me. O Master of my life, please hear my words. Even if I have committed offenses to you, I always think of you as my master. Please allow me to serve you as your associate and follower. Lust has destroyed my mind. I do not know what is actually beneficial for me. O Lord, you glance mercifully on all living entities, and you are like a desire tree fulfilling the desires of everyone. Please accept me as your servant. O Lord, you will not see anyone in these 3 planetary systems who is as fallen as I. O Lord, please accept the name Narottama Pavana, the deliverer of Narottam, and let that name be broadcast throughout the material world. O Lord Shamasundar, O lifter of Govardhan Hill, O deliverer of the fallen, please accept me as your servant. Narottama Dasa is very unhappy. O Lord, please engage him in your Sankirtan movement and thus make him happy. O Lord, I am very afraid that I will not be able to overcome the many obstacles that stop me from advancing in devotional service. O Lord, at every moment, I beg you to remove all those obstacles.
So Song 3, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Song 4. O Lord, I do not perform the painful activity of talking about anything other than you. So when we do that, we talk with Jalpa, Gramya and politics. It's like in the cartoon, like the dim-witted oaf, taking a mallet and just hitting him on the head, And Bugs Bunny has to come by with his infinite wisdom and say, "How's that working out for you, Doc?" So, I do not perform the painful activity of talking about anything other than you, but instead I only talk and think about your lotus feet. O Lord, I constantly and without deviation glorify your transcendental attributes in the assembly of devotees. I shall not perform any vows not related to you. I shall not give in charity except as a service to you. I shall not acquire knowledge except to serve you. I shall not worship the demigods. I shall not serve anyone except you. I shall blissfully wander about, repeatedly calling out, O Krishna, no one but you will stay in my mind. During the life of this body and after its death, Sri Radha and Krishna will always remain my goal, and the 2 masters of my life's breath. I worship the divine couple, and I swim and float in a nectarian ocean of love for them. I pray that the description of their forms, qualities, and pastimes may always remain within my heart. Narottama Dasa approaches your lotus feet and says, "My lords, I wish that I may attain transcendental bliss by singing the glories of your transcendental qualities, both day and night. That is my mind's desire." So although his mother and father were very joyful to understand what a great personality Narottam was, at the same time they were very much attached for him to become, as a prince, to continue the family heritage and be involved in extensive affairs based on maintaining the monarchy and wealth and all those types of things. Narottam lay on his bed, staring into the darkness of night, his mind spinning. I can't bear to hear another word about property management or collecting taxes. Just like the disappearance of Bhishma Dev. He just wanted to fix his mind upon the form of Krishna standing before him. And Prabhupada says he was a statesman, and naturally his mind was strewn, use the word strewn, over many subject matters, this war, this political idea, this enemy, this friend, this, that, the other thing, and blah, blah, blah. And he just wanted to stop all that thinking and just concentrate on Krishna. So I can't bear to hear any more about these things. I have absolutely no interest in those things. I just want to dedicate my life fully to the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, at the same time, if you have to take into account so many different details, that's one of the items of favorable devotional service described by Rupa Goswami in the beginning of Nectar Devotion, not to be neglectful in ordinary dealings. And especially for the neophyte, for the beginning practitioner, that's a very sure symptomatic of false renunciation and cheap sahajiism to think that I just want to, think about Krishna and I'm just going to chant here and chant and do bhajan, and I don't want to have to do any practical service, or I don't take my practical service seriously. He sighed deeply. I want so much to go to Vrindavan. I desperately want to meet the personal associates of Mahaprabhu still living there. Rupa, Sanatan, Raghunath Das. Many of them are very old. How much longer can they remain in this world? I have to get there before it's too late. Narottam lay awake with these thoughts for a long time. Finally decided, I see no other alternative. I have to leave home. So here in the West, we leave home to go for Krishna consciousness, and it's not such a big deal. I did that, and actually from my family side it was kind of, good riddance to bad rubbish.
Oh my God, no.
So they wanted me out anyway, so this way I fulfilled their desire, But in India it's not like that.
Not at all.
No. So for what to speak of hundreds of years ago, and what to speak of for wealthy, for a prince, Raghunath Das Goswami was in a similar situation. Late into the night, as sleep overtook him, Narottam had a startling vision. Sri Nityananda Prabhu appeared before him. The Lord's face was more beautiful than millions upon millions of moons. He had a tall, strong, heroic stature. So this is similar to Lord Nityananda appearing before Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. His hands, arms, and legs were beautifully formed, and his eyes resembled lotus flowers. He wore golden earrings, armlets, and bangles. Smiling, he told Narottam, go at once to the Padmavati river to bathe. Padmavati Devi has been keeping a gift for you, and she will deliver it when you come. She has been waiting for you. Then the Lord disappeared. Narottam woke with a start. Astonished and overcome with transcendental ecstasy, he jumped out of bed. He had to get out of the palace and down to the Padmavati immediately. Afraid he might be seen by one of the ever-protective household servants, Narottam decided to climb out through the window. He stacked the furniture under a small window high up on the wall, scaling it, He then squeezed through and pulled himself out onto the roof as silently as possible. He slid down to the eaves and dropped quietly to the ground. By the arrangement of Providence, the sun had not yet risen and there were no guards in sight. Narottama rushed toward the Padmavati River, softly chanting the holy name all the way. When he reached the bank, he bowed down in the moist earth and then stepped into the shallows, calling out the name of Gauranga. The cool, dark water swirled around his legs and immediately began to rise higher and higher. Within moments, the river's waves surged over the banks and onto the land. Narottama suddenly saw the goddess Padmavati Devi standing before him. Shocked, he stared at her with wide eyes. Padmavati Devi smiled warmly at him. Before you were born, she said, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left his divine love in my care and instructed me to give it to a boy named Narottama whose touch would make my waters rise in the same way they did when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself came here. Clearly, you are the rightful recipient of this most extraordinary gift. I have been waiting for a very long time for your visit. Now, please take this topmost treasure. Saying this, Padmavati Devi moved towards Narottama with outstretched hands, holding what appeared to be a radiant golden lotus flower. Without warning, the goddess Padmavati disappeared, and Narottama was astonished to see the golden lotus transformed into a luminous golden-colored boy. This exquisite form, which was none other than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, danced toward him and entered his body.
Whoa.
Narottama felt Mahaprabhu's essence engulf him. Powerless in the grip of the Lord's ecstasy, he shouted, Gauranga, Gauranga, as the Lord's love infused his every limb. Narottama's swarthy complexion lightened, transforming his skin into a beautiful golden color. His skin also slackened, and he shivered and trembled uncontrollably. The current of divine love that coursed through his body was so intense that Narottama couldn't contain his emotions. Staggering out of the water, he laughed, cried, sang, and danced furiously on the banks of the Padmavati, lost in the ecstasy of love and oblivious to everything around him. Narottama was abruptly brought back to external consciousness when he heard his father's frantic shouts. Where are you? His father's crying. Look, someone over there. It doesn't look like Narottama, because he had transformed. Oh, my dear Lord, what has happened to my son? Squinting in the pre-dawn darkness, Narottama saw a large crowd of people rushing toward him with torches. To his surprise, he heard his mother's hysterical voice. It is Naru. Can't you recognize your own son? Look, he's wearing Naru's ornaments. So she comes up to her son and chastising him. Why did you run away like this? You made us so worried and frightened. Taking Narottama's face in her hand, she looked at him in bewilderment. What has happened to you? Why do you look so strange? What happened to your skin? Her voice shook. Are you all right? I'm fine, Narottama managed to stutter as he tried to compose himself, but thoughts of Lord Chaitanya again surged in his heart, and he pulled away from his mother, yelling, Gauranga, Gauranga. So they thought he was haunted by a ghost. Somehow, with great difficulty, they managed to get their son home and into bed. They were trying to get a tantric exorcist. So ultimately, he escaped to go on to fulfill his destiny as the most empowered acharya and successor to the legacy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. A wonderful example of a pure devotee, even one pure devotee, taking forward the Lord's mission and desire. Just as in our experience, Srila Prabhupada has done this for us. Just as Narottam's horoscope, everyone was held in wonder. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada, we read the birth of Emperor Parikshit in the first canto, how he would be the natural heir apparent to the entire Pandava and the last remaining descendant in the Yadu dynasty. And every topics about his life and activities are all wonderful. So similarly, Narottama Dasa Thakur is most important Acharya in our line. And we bow down in the dust of his lotus feet today and beg for his mercy to help us to do what we need to do, which is to carry on the Sankirtan movement. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.
His Grace Rama Raya Prabhu
Ki jai.